Okay, so I'll start. Welcome to Oh Brother, Not Another Podcast, a production of Verso Studios in Westport, Connecticut. And my name is Miggs Burrows.
And I'm Trace Burrows. And today we're very happy to have on our show actress Bonnie Bartlett, who has a career spanning 7 decades. I mean, she's been in so many television shows and films. Just some of the ones in the last 15 years have been Better Call Saul, Key and Peele, Parks and Recreation, Grey's Anatomy, General Hospital, Twins, and it goes on and on and on. So she's done a ton of work.
And she's married to Captain Nice.
Yeah, her husband also has a great career, William Daniels. You know, I've seen him like millions of times on the television. And
is that a nickname?
Actually, if you don't mind,
yeah.
You mentioned Westport Playhouse. I think Bill did the Zoo Story there.
Oh.
Bill did the
Edward Albee.
Edward Albee's first play, and I think after he did it for 2 years, they were going to go on a tour, and he did it there with Ben Piazza, I think it was, and I don't know how many years ago that is, 1,000,000 years ago, but anyway. I was very pregnant at the time, but I remember being there in Westport a lot. And also did another play there that he tried out, which was a big bomb.
Oh.
And I think that was Westport.
There's been a lot of those.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
We both were apprentices there years ago in the 60s. Yeah. So I don't know when you were
cars.
Would have been
I was an usher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I studied theater, actually in a weird convergence that never happened. I auditioned for the part of Benjamin in The Graduate.
Did you?
So your husband was his father in the movie. He would have been my father if I only made it.
You auditioned for which part?
Benjamin in The Graduate. Dustin Hoffman's.
The movie?
Yeah, the movie. Yeah.
Did you really?
Miggs, how did you get that?
I went to Carnegie Mellon to study theater.
Yeah.
And there was a general call. They put out on a bulletin board, this is a general call. And, everybody
audition.
When I say audition, maybe that's overstating a little bit. They asked me to come to New York to read with one of the producers. So it wasn't I didn't read with any of the characters.
Well, it was interesting because Mike, we're off, but that doesn't matter.
Nichols.
Mike Nichols wanted Dustin, and the Hollywood wanted Bonnie, come on, Robert Redford.
Oh, of course. Oh, really?
Yeah, they wanted Robert Redford, and he had to work Mike had a little power there, and so he insisted. They did not want him. They didn't want Dustin. The studios, because nobody knew who he was, but Mike had seen him in a play off Broadway. Yeah. And Mike wanted him for that part, and he was so right. Absolutely. But it was an odd casting, and Mike was always right.
Yeah, very.
But I'm sure they looked around a lot,
Sure.
Yeah.
So I read like this. I don't know. I've never asked an actor this. So I saw in some interview that you said you could when you were working on the soap opera Love of Life, you could memorize 30 pages in an evening. Yeah. How do you teach yourself to do that?
Well, I memorize in groups. In other words, I don't memorize line by line. I memorize in paragraphs. And a soap opera, if you're doing Shakespeare, you can't do that. But if you're doing a soap opera where so much of it is repetitive, you are saying so many things every day that you have already said in a slightly different way the day before. It's all repetitive, or it was then, very repetitive. So it was a matter of, on Sunday, I would look at 5 scripts, and I would memorize all 5 in general paragraphs, and then the night before and at the rehearsal, usually at the rehearsal, I would, in the afternoon, I would put the memorize in detail so that I really had it down by the rehearsal in the afternoon, and you went in the morning and it was there. It's just,
So
if
when
you
you
have that kind of mind, you can do it.
yeah, I guess, I mean, if I went out to memorize a paragraph, it would take me like 4 or 5 days just for the paragraph. At
But
least
don't forget the kind of material it is.
yeah.
It's
Did
not.
the writers get mad if you
You're not. No, you do the
Yeah.
best you can. And
I
the
see.
important thing is that you give them, if you get up or something, you give them the line, the last line, to give the camera the clue,
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
the cue to move on to the next shot.
Yeah.
So even if you're a little mixed up, you make sure that last line is correct.
Oh, okay. So they can follow you at least.
Yeah. Sometimes another actor would get mixed up and go way off, and you would have to say their lines too. You know, you'd say their line. You know it. I don't know. You just knew it all.
You just made it work.
It was just all there.
So that it was live way back when you started, right?
Live, yeah.
So if you forgot a line, what like another actor would just fill in, like you just said, you'd fill in for an actor.
Fill in for them and help them. And sometimes I remember one time that I went up, I had spent the whole week with a wonderful actor who never knew his lines, and I was all the way through, but a wonderful actor. And so I was going to, and I finally got to the last day, and I thought, oh boy, this is over. And I went up. And so I just went, oh, just worked it into the scripts.
You have to be pretty nimble. Everybody has to.
With that material, let's face it, you could do it with material.
Yeah.
You studied with Strasberg, right? With
Lee.
That's known as the method. And what is in a nutshell? And who were you?
You got to read my book.
Oh, okay. What's your book? Hold it.
Right. Here it is. Middle of the Rainbow.
Oh.
Bonnie Bartlett Daniels. And you can get it at Amazon. You can get it actually, if you want a signed copy, you can, there's a.
Oh, really?
You can go to my website, which is bonniesmiddleoftherainbow.com. bonniesmiddleoftherainbow.com.
Oh, excellent. Glad you reminded us of that.
Yeah. And then it'll tell you if you want a signed copy, you can send it actually to my post office box and I'll get it out to you, all that kind of thing. Okay. So that's that. And it's really good. It's a good book. And if you want to know about Lee Strasberg and his, not a method, I do not call it a method.
No.
It helps to be a better actor. His techniques to be a better actor. That's what it's all about. And that is all in the book in great detail.
Okay.
So for a student, acting student, it's very, very good. He was an amazing teacher, but it's not the method. There is no method. I mean, the method really would be Stanislavski.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
The Russian. He did rehearsed a certain way and did a certain thing. And he kind of invented sense memory, which any good actor would use anyway. There's a very funny story about Chekhov. Went to see his play, and he said there was so much noise from the chirping of the birds and all of the animal, all the side effects, that he said, I didn't hear any of the words. It was all effect. And that was Stanislavski trying to be realistic. It's all an attempt to be realistic. But it's not a method of work. An English actor would use that even, you know what I mean? It's not, I think what the method, they get involved in the emotional memory. That's what they get involved with, but it's sense memory is much more important. You learn very much about sense memory and how to use all your senses to get you into the scene. Emotional memory is probably what you're talking about. And that is, emotional memory is, yes, it's using sense memory to get to the emotion and then the real emotion so that you're really experiencing it.
So if you have to be sad, you think about some time in your life when you're really sad.
But you do it sensorily.
Yeah.
You don't just think, oh, they're sad about my baby or whatever. You go back to the moment in order to train for it. You go back to the moment, remembering the scene, being there, How did I feel? What did I see? Was it hot? Or was that, all of those things.
Oh, I see.
And suddenly you're there.
But there's situations, obviously, that actors have never experienced. Like, okay, you're in a movie and you're being chased by a monster with a knife.
It doesn't have to be the same experience.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have to be the same. It's just something that will be a real, strong emotional effect on you.
Right, and authentic.
It doesn't have to be the same at all.
Oh,
It can be totally different. Or it can be the same. It's totally different. And if you're meant to be an actor, you got a lot of that in you.
Some actors say that once they put the costume on, if it's a costume thing, they become automatically they feel
that's
like
right. That's right. And if you don't need anything, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
If you're just so good, Strasberg always said that the ethnic people were much more natural actors than the WASP. You know what I mean? Because we're taught to hold back. We're taught not to show emotion.
Oh, yeah.
And Italians, Spanish, all those people, that's part of their whole being.
Sure.
Is all those emotions. So they can get to them very fast.
I heard an interview with Anthony Hopkins once, and he says, when I'm doing a movie, I'm thinking about, Jesus, I got to change my tires tomorrow. He's thinking about really
shopping. Yes.
Shopping. Yeah, like I could get a haircut. Meanwhile, I guess he knows his lines, so he's not worried that he'll flake out.
It doesn't say much for his investment in a part.
Now, as he is older now, he probably can't remember his lines.
Yeah.
I bet he can't now. I'm sure he can't now. And he also was an alcoholic for years.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a great natural actor.
Yeah.
And how about Brenda? Who was your classmates at Strasberg? Do you remember?
Well, Susan came in, Susan Strasberg, Lee's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Jane came in, Jane Fonda, Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
Marilyn was there for quite a while. And a lot of people like that. Good people, good actors.
Yeah, it's weird, because the thing about Brando was, he even The Godfather, maybe it's because of he wasn't that old in The Godfather. They aged him, but he needed cue cards all over the room, they said.
Yeah, things written on everything.
Couldn't remember his lines.
Couldn't
remember lines. But he was a great actor. Brando was special. Brando had his own way. I don't think you could pin down what Brando was as an actor. He couldn't do it. Certain things he wanted to do, like what didn't he do something about on the Mutiny on the Bounty or something?
Yeah.
He can't do that. He has no way of getting there. He can't do it. But if there's a way of him getting into a part that isn't technical, he had no technique. He just had his own being and his own way of working. And it was special, very special.
Yeah, it's interesting. Paul Newman's lived here in Westport. Their family still does, but he was, as beloved and wonderful actor as he couldn't do like a period piece. I forget what it was, but he was dressed up as some, I don't know, Egyptian. I mean, he just couldn't pull that off,
No, Brando's even worse. I can guarantee you. Paul could do a better job than Brando. Yes, because he was just himself, and Paul just had a tremendous charisma with both women and men, both.
Oh.
You couldn't beat that. You couldn't beat that. So that when he was doing well, when he was acting well, he was stupendous.
Speaking of charisma, so you've been noted at Wikipedia or somewhere I read, you hold the record as the longest lasting Hollywood marriage ever.
Oh, yeah.
72 years now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
It's like the Carters.
Yeah, the Carters, right.
Yeah. But they're not.
So how my marriage only lasted 24 years. So
I'm not sure. It just sort of happened. It was, if you believe in anything that is karma or whatever like that, we met and we've been together since I was 18 and I'm now 94. And we've been through a lot We've been through a lot of bad times, good times, all kinds of times. It was just meant to be. We are comfortable with each other. And we're very happy with each other.
Well, that's great to hear.
We love to work together. We love to live together. We love to be together. And that hasn't changed. During the bad times, yes, when we were irritable with each other, there have been times. Sure. We just managed to get through it because somebody changed. Somebody made a change that allowed us to move on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
If you can't change, if you can't adjust to each other and change and move on and get better, each person has to get better. So,
well, I mean, it's sort of a weird metaphor, but you know, in the theater, like you said, if somebody flubs their lines, you have to fill in. You have to carry it for a few minutes. Or
yes. And that's one of the things. Like, for instance, Bill, at my deepest, darkest moments, Bill, who is not an affectionate or person at all, but at my deepest, darkest moments, he would take over and deal with, whether it was a doctor or whether it was my parents or his parents. He just would move in and just take over. And with the boys, same with the boys. In those very deep moments when you're in major trouble, Bill was amazing. On a day-to-day basis, he's difficult, very difficult, very difficult to live with. And I can do that. I have always been able to do that.
So he wasn't always Captain Nice at home, right?
Captain Nice is a joke. Joke. And he loved working with Buck Henry.
Buck Henry, sure.
Yeah, Buck Henry. Yeah, he's great.
And Alice Ghostly, his mother.
I loved Alice Ghostly.
He loved her and loved her. They had that same funny bone, all of them. They have a funny bone. And Nancy Walker said that once. She said that some of us just have a funny bone, and we see things differently, and it's funny. It's all funny.
You know how Paul Lynde had that weird, he talked, and Alice Ghostly had a similar tone in her voice. And I remember seeing a thing on PBS where they were like husband and wife, and I thought it was such great casting because they both had that same thing that no other actors have, that quivering sound when they talked. I don't know. I loved it. I liked Paul Lynde. I thought he was funny.
He was terribly funny. I had a date with Paul Lynde.
Did you really?
You had a date with Paul Lynde?
Northwestern.
Oh, wow.
He was a fraternity guy. And I was in a sorority at that time. I got out because I didn't want it. But it was a weird date.
We interviewed somebody who did we interview? Another actress in Hollywood from your era, and she said she didn't date him, but she worked with him and said he was nasty.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. Yes, I don't remember.
He, when he's trying to be affectionate or kiss you or something, it's nasty. It's a nasty kiss. Woo! But I didn't know at that time. I was so naive. I had no idea. Because he was not out at that time.
Right.
Most of us knew eventually.
Yeah.
So you played so many iconic roles and with so many other iconic, there were Grace Snyder Edwards and Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie, wonderful, wonderful show.
And what was the one on St. Elsewhere, Ellen Craig and St. Elsewhere?
Bill was Dr. Craig. I was his wife, Ellen
And you
Craig.
both won Emmys at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, we had wonderful material. I mean, talk about the material. We were talking about the material in a soap opera, and then you're talking about superb television material in St. Elsewhere. The writers were absolutely superb, and Bruce Paltrow was a wonderful producer.
Mm-hmm. Is there any role movie out there that some actress played the lead that you thought, Jesus, I'd love to have a crack at that?
There are a million roles that I would like to have played. Anything Ellen Burstyn has ever done, I would like to have played.
I can see that.
Anything, in that era, not the Meryl Streep kind of thing. She has been superb all the way.
Yeah.
I think she's just been one. Now she's not doing,
Hmm.
yes, there's nothing for her to do, so she sings a little and does a little bit.
Yeah,
But some of the parts that she has played have been stupendous. But yes, of course, but I started out as a theater actress. I wanted to do, well, I did Macbeth a couple of times, and I wanted to do Greek tragedy. I wanted to be those marvelous ladies on the stage, that did Greek tragedy or heavy drama.
Gravitas, roles with gravitas.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you go where you're wanted. You just go where.
Well, on the flip side of that, you also played Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger's mom in Twins.
Yes.
I can't imagine. I mean, the three of you, what was that like? What are they, I've heard this phrase because I never acted really. I gave it up quickly. But very generous actors, they say. People I worked with, he's so generous as an actor, actress. Are they generous? Do you find them easy to work with?
Well, Danny, of course, is Danny. I mean, you get what you get there. And he's just funny and cute, and he's very smart. And he was wonderful with Arnold because Arnold can't act. Arnold, he said to me once, he's very smart.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's a smart guy, and I like him, and I like talking to him and everything. And he said, well, should I go to New York? And I said, no. I said, I have no instincts for the stage at all. His timing, I mean, he has no...
Yeah.
He could do all that, but he has no... nothing that an actor should have, really.
Well, it says, his biggest success was being a robot. So, I mean, that says it all.
But he is not to be laughed at because he is one smart fellow.
Yeah. Oh.
I really appreciate when he talks politically.
Yeah, I've seen this.
He's a Republican, but he knows what's wrong. He knows, he can tell you about fascism because he was raised in it. This is a serious guy. It's a strange thing, his getting into the world, into the United States. But he's just not an actor, but I'm all for him.
Right. Yeah, I saw a couple of those videos he did about fascism.
Yes. Aren't they good?
So thankful that someone spoke up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I thought that was so important.
Yeah.
I thought, oh God, you got to play that more. And this is Arnold. That's right.
Very honest. Yeah, very honest about his history. But do you need time in particularly a movie like that? Do you need time to warm up to each other? I mean, you're thrown together. All of a sudden, you're the mom of these two totally diverse people. Do you need to spend a little time?
No. I spent time with the director.
Yeah, okay.
And he redid a lot of stuff that I asked for because I quit at one point.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. I went to the first reading, and I was not that impressed, and I certainly wasn't impressed with my part. And I didn't know who that guy over there was with the shorts and the whole bunch. I didn't know who he was. I knew Danny.
Yeah.
But so Ivan Reitman called me in, and he said, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I said, "There's no part there. There's no part. She just, And he said, all right. He said, what's the matter? Tell me what you would do." And I said, well, I could do this and I could put that in there. And if there's a TV there, I could do that. And I could do, and when I'm in that scene and I brought in the teddy bear, I brought that in for the final scene. I had no trouble at all believing. I can believe. I can put myself. It didn't occur to me that they were my boys.
Yeah.
They were what and I never thought, and when they were going to do they were going to do a third one of the triplets, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Going to be
with a black, wasn't it going to be Eddie Murphy or something, I think?
Somebody like that. And I thought that would be easy. I'm old, right? And I'm a little blind. and that's my third one. Oh, how marvelous, and I would take them in. I would love them all and what they were. And it's all about love.
Was that Ivan Reitman? Did he direct that? Ivan Reitman directed Twins, right? Yeah.
And so the triplet movie fell apart. That never happened, right?
Never happened.
Yeah.
But as I remember, it was supposed to be a black child,
Yes.
an African American.
And I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah,
it was funny.
It's our conflict.
And you could, as I say, if by the time that happened, I could be blind.
No, right.
But that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
The man with two heads.
I'm very busy writing and creating and stories. And Bill always says, you look at a couple in a restaurant, Bonnie, and you watch something, and he says, then you start talking. He says, and you've written a whole story about them.
Oh,
You've written a whole story, what they're going in. I said, yeah, I do that.
Oh, you do that. You project onto a couple and like the backstory of everybody.
I project on anything, and I want to know how it's going to end.
Oh.
I can't not watch the end of a movie because I have to know how it's going to end. And he's gone long ago. Not interested, but not interested in the movie, and because it's not good enough for him. It's always good enough for me. I can watch.
No, actors.
Have you turned down roles?
Well, I told you I quit Twins, and Ivan got me back. He got me back. He and my agent also, and there have been times when I was offered a part in the theater, and it conflicted with a television thing where I was making more money, which meant a lot to me, and I regret it that I didn't just turn the TV down and go do the theater. Yeah. I regret that. Yeah, that I regret. I do, because they were wonderful parts, and I should have done it, but I didn't. I went for the money.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So actors and artists. We're artists, visual artists, but actors are, particular creative people, I guess, have known for fragile egos. And it's unusual, first of all, for two actors. Usually an actor tries to marry out of their profession so they don't have that clash of, We don't
have that at all.
Ego. No, so I was just wondering, like, you get a part, William doesn't. William gets a great part, you don't. And then
the only thing that has bothered him was when he didn't make any money.
Uh-huh.
And if I was making money, if I made money and he didn't, his whole aim has always been, this actor has been, I don't want to end up poor.
Yeah.
Because he was born poor. And he says, I just don't want to end up poor. So that meant a lot to him.
Have you done any, do you produce and direct too, or?
He's done he's a wonderful director, but he doesn't want to take the responsibility.
Yeah, it's a lot of details.
Yeah, he's been offered a lot of things. He's been offered a lot.
Have you, either of you or both, developed scripts together?
We tried once, but it didn't work. We came close to doing a series that we had created.
For yourselves?
We've come close, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, it just never worked out.
Mr. and Mrs. Nice.
We're actors for hire. We're better as actors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you get as far as pitching it, or did you just end up? We sold it, but we never sold it. We sold it. Where was it? Was it Disney? I don't know, one place. And then a lot of people came to us with projects, and Bill is very fussy, and he turned them all down. Bill just turned them all down. Mm.
Well,
that's him.
Okay, yeah. Well, my pitch for if you did a thing together, would be Mr. and Mrs. Nice.
Oh,
that's nice.
Yeah.
No. I don't know.
But then you'd be real evil.
Did you see Two for the Road, the movie?
Two for the Road. Yeah.
Hepburn.
Yes.
Albert
Spencer Tracy. Was it Spencer? No.
You didn't see it.
Oh, not Catherine. I'm thinking of Katharine Hepburn. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I guess I didn't.
Audrey Hepburn. Great movie. Great movie about marriage. Great movie.
Oh.
It was Audrey Hepburn and Albert Finney. Bill was in it, and very funny.
Oh, okay.
Very funny. Very funny. It's a wonderful movie. But I'm supposed to be selling my book.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sell it some more. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Middle of the Rainbow, Bonnie Bartlett Daniels. You can get it at any bookstore or.
Unless it's a spoiler, what does the title refer to? Middle of the Rainbow?
It kind of came very late. I had a lot of other titles. I worked on it for years. And it kind of came from if you look at it, there's a quote, and it's sort of like looking at your life and loving yourself. And there's a pot of gold at both ends of the rainbow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I said, okay, I'm the middle of the rainbow. That's sort of the way I feel. I think I got through a lot. It's not a pretty book. It's there's a lot in it that is tough and tough to read and tough to write. And very serious book, really, but it's a journey, and it's a journey that in the end is successful. I mean, I managed to do a lot with what happened to me. And I've managed to come through a lot and be very happy and feel very successful, and had a lot of love in my life. And that's the important thing that we've...
the extraordinary career.
A journey and a lesson. And it's a wonderful... I think it's very good for people to read, because it's a success story, really.
Yeah, personal success.
And a story about love. Yeah.
Well, our journey is about to come to an end. Our 30-minute journey.
Yes.
It's been terrific.
Yeah. Just you guys are good. You guys are really good.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Oh, well, we love talking to you. You're wonderful and forthcoming and generous and authentic, and that's great. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay.